Hi everyone, this is GOL from Productions², and welcome to our Sword of the Stars Let's Play walkthrough. What we'll be doing today is starting this off, and how we're going to operate this one is we're going to do every race, but we're going to do medium-sized maps for every race, just because the smaller maps are way too focused, way too military focused, and the larger maps are way too research and expansion focused. So I'm going to do middle-sized maps so it's a bit more balanced that way. And it provides us a little more balanced approach. I'm not sure if we'll have the Zool in or not. Technically, we should have them in each game, even if I'm not playing as the Zool, but they have, like, I don't know. Their ships are supposed to be weaker, but they're not. They're not weaker. Every time I play against the Zool, I end up getting murdered because their ships just cannot be blown up at all. So they're really hardy ships. Even though the lore and every wiki I found says, oh no, they're supposed to have really crummy ships that are easy to destroy. So, let's go ahead and start a game. I don't do the scenarios because they're crap in my opinion. Always do custom games. So we're gonna do let's not do real space, even though it looks kind of interesting. We're gonna do, let's see, cubes. Interesting. Oh, that's a nice, interesting little effect there. Wow. Let's do curved space. Vortex. So you can actually make your own, oh wow. You can actually make your own galaxy shapes. Interesting. Example. I didn't know you could do that. So let's see, clouds? I think it's all clouds, yeah. It's not very... Okay, there we go. Well, it's kind of, you get your own individual spaces kind of out there. There's a lot of planets in the middle. But if you don't get in the middle and colonize quick, you lose a lot of ground that way. It's not a really balanced map. Mini clusters. We're going to settle around 150 planets. Can I just type it in there? No, of course. I can, okay. For our playing space. So... distance. That's 7 light years. Let's keep it at 8. Mini clusters. I like the spacing of that. So we're gonna start off as the Liir. It's gonna go Liir, then Morigi, then Human, Zool, Tarkas, then Hiver. The reason we're doing it that way is just because of the difficulty of the race. Hivers are the hardest to use because they have some really weird requirements on their movement. Humans are third most difficult, or I think it said fourth. I'm not doing them first because they have also likewise weird movement restrictions where they have predefined node lanes they can use, but they can only use those node lanes. Zool can make their own node lanes as they want to, but they have to actually, make them and maintain them because they'll start to degrade over time and with use. The Morigi and I think the Liir both can travel through deep space. However, the Liir, once you get near planets going through deep space, they start to slow down. And I'm not sure if the Tarkas have any movement restrictions. I forget. what theirs are. So we're going to start with the Morigi, also because that's my favorite race. Or no, wait, the Liir, then Morigi. Liir have really high research, I would say research benefits, potentials, and they research a lot. Faster than the other races. The other downside for our larger maps is that these take too long too. So that's another reason we're not doing larger ones. So we're going to have the 6 AI, well 5 including myself. Makes 6. And these are the settings we're going to use. Comment length will be 195 seconds. So just about 3 minutes over that. 3 minutes 5 seconds about. Well, let's see. No, not really. 2 minutes and 15 seconds. For random encounters, those are down to 50%. AI is set to normal. Start with 1 million on treasury, initial colonies 2, and 2 technologies. And then economic efficiency 120%, research efficiency 85%. Just to kind of balance those out of it. So I'll be able to make more ships, but not research quite as much. Tech. So, or at least not, well, I'll still be able to research tech, just not as quickly. So, let's go ahead and use these settings, create a game. Call it Liir game. So I'm going to set myself as the Liir. Alright, so color, let's go with green. I'll go random on the color. Well, not really. It's white. Yeah. Okay. We'll put the rest as random, and they can have whatever they want for their races and emblems and whatnot. And we can go.
System updates.
Alright, so this is the game space. Each one of these points of light is a planet you can colonize. Technically they're called systems, but they're not really systems, they're planets. And S2, they are systems that have multiple planets in them, though. So here's our other colony. Their capital is the one with the star around it. And it will most likely always be your largest planet that you'll have, your best planet you'll have in your empire. It's a size 10 planet with a lot of resources. So, let's talk about the UI here and what stuff means. So, over here you see our main, you'll see this panel most of the time. It gives you most of the information you need. Your emblem, well, your race, not your emblem, but your race or avatar you picked. Your economic chart. Right now it shows we're sending all of our credits to savings. Your savings, which is basically how many credits you have on hand. Research, design, and build buttons to go to those different parts of the UI. And you have your planet information here. So this shows your morale within your system. It also shows you the number of civilians and what type of civilians. So if you have a multiracial planet, it'll have multiple tiles for each race that'll have the small number being the morale of that race, and then you can also hover over to see the morale and the number of that race on your planet. Right now we only have Liir, so it's all Liir. You have your planet size, planet resources, the climate hazard bar, infrastructure, imperial citizens, in other words, government employees, civilians, industrial output, and your income. So industrial output is essentially the total amount of points you can put towards building ships, and your income is the amount of credits you're getting from the system per turn. Resources are the number of resources a planet has, and you can over-harvest those resources to increase your industrial output and income. But once this hits 0, your planet's essentially useless because you won't be able to do any much production from it. So it's better to not over-harvest unless you absolutely have to. Now, that said, the Zool, if you're playing as them, will always over-harvest 10 resources per turn. So this planet would last the Zool like 100 turns at most before they'd run out of resources. Or 500 turns. 10 turns. 10 and 500. Yeah. 5,000. This is your civilian population growth. I'm not really sure. I think increasing this increases your use of resources because you're growing your population above what the planet is set to for the maintaining the status of the resources on the planet. Then you have planetary budget. So the more you put into construction, the more ships, the more of your output you put to ships. The more you increase our trade, the more that output will be dedicated to trade, and the more trade income you'll get from that planet. You'll need to research some text to unlock trading, though. Then you see the image of the planet there. You can also set a note if you want to using this, and what it'll do is it'll create like a exclamation point that'll show above the planet like this. And I actually use these for marking which planets are still in development. So let's go ahead and clear that note. I don't think that does do something. What does it do? Oh, it shows the climate control. Okay. So here you can see the climate of the planet. So right now it's like, and you can set it to different things too if you want to. Like if you want to set to the far range, you could do that, but it drops your population like crazy. It's better to leave it like somewhere near the middle. And then we have the morale events. So whatever events happen on that planet, you can see the events that will drop or increase the morale here. And you can also apply these settings to your entire empire. And here you can see the Empire Population Manager. Let's see what else. We have the end turn button down here, which allows you to progress to the next turn. These buttons here, this brings up the chat window, which will show you what other races are saying, or other players if you're in a multiplayer game. Your alliance will also send you stuff here. You can compose messages to other players or AI. I'm not sure what these do. Over here you have the menu button. So you can set the AI policy. So choose how the AI will behave. Should leave mid-game. This is for if the AI for you if you leave a multiplayer game. And then also has like the menu options, options save, quick to main menu, and set time limits. So you can increase or decrease your time limits there if you want to. Like you can set a strategic turn length. That means like when you're out here doing stuff on the map, it can set the amount of time you can spend on the map. So you can use that to increase the speed of multiplayer games, or put the AI under pressure or something if you wanted to. I usually put it as unlimited because I usually spend a lot of time in this mode. Now up here you have the turn number, as well as some other stuff here. You can see a drop down of all the races, and this will be showing up, the status will be playing if you're in a multiplayer game for any non-AI AI races. Over here we have the diplomatic screen, diplomacy screen. You can do stuff from here. Right now we don't know any other races, so nothing else shows here. And once you research some text, you can actually look at what you know about that empire as far as like their known technology. FTL broadband, G modification. Okay, so we got some interesting stuff already. This is the that's the same thing. That just shows you intel on your race, or any other races that'll show up over in here that you know of. Then we have this screen, which tells you what place you are in terms of the overall ranking with all the races. I'm not sure why everyone's not at 1 right now, because we should all have the same stuff starting out. But kind of just gives you a representation of where you're at. And then the last one here is, again, the Empire Population Manager. So let's go over to these 3 buttons. Research. This brings up your technology trees, and you have, like, I think 7, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, I think 11, maybe 13 or 14 tech trees, and they all have different things. Really, so only starter warp, nothing beyond that. That sucks. So you got drones, biotech, industrial, xenotech, C3, which is command, control, and commerce, I think. Ballistic weapons, energy weapons, torpedo weapons, power technology, and shield technology, then warheads, warhead weapons. So, the main techs you'll want to focus on early on are going to be the biotech, the power technology, and maybe some of the weapons technology. If you're on a medium-sized map, if you're on a larger map, then you want to focus on those and your industrial. But if you're in a smaller map, you want to focus on mainly, as much as you can, your biotech, C3, and weapons. And then, if you have some extra time to devote to it, star drives, and then definitely, once you start running to other races, start doing the xenotech, which allows you to research different races, languages, and be able to communicate and perform diplomatic actions with them. So up here you can see your research history, so what you've researched and when you researched it. And over here, special projects. You can get special projects in many different ways. One way is through alliances. Your allies will send you research requests that you can undertake together. And you can also get these from salvaging enemy wrecks, once you have salvaging and repair modules for your ships, which are cruiser sections. So you won't have those till you get cruisers, but that's when they're available. So let's head over to the build, or we'll do design first. So here you can build your design your ships. Save your stats up here, your existing ship designs, the different modules you can use, and the weapon layout. And you can also set up multiple groups if you want to. So look up in group 1, 2, 3. So that's what these dots, these numbers are for, is for the weapon groups. So you can set the different weapons to fire off with different groups. It's just a way of getting a little more control over how your ship will attack during battle. And you can click on any design to bring up that design. And you can also then change the design and create a new iteration of it, just by choosing a new section. So we'll select colonizer, and let's say I'll change a weapon, change it to like lasers, and that's only a standard command right now. But that will make this different, and then you can resave it as a new model of that. Over on the build screen, you have your ship stats when you have one selected, your sections, which you can also bring up information on. I forgot about that. That information thing works on the research on the design as well, to show you different information about the sections you've chosen. And you'll find financial details, so how much fleet maintenance you're paying, how much the queued ships will cost you in fleet maintenance, and how much your treasury is, as well as what your construction and over-harvest are for the planet you're on. And same thing with this, you have your current ship designs. You just select one, double-click on it to add one. If you shift double-click, that's 5, and control double-click adds 10. Or no, 3s. It goes in 3s. So one of these adds 10. Is it alt? No. So I guess it's either 5 or 3s. So what we're going to do is we're going to first build some extended range ships. And then we're also going to build some armor to start out with. And as you can see, my treasury is depleting from the cost of those ships. That's how much it will cost to build the ships. This is what's left. And this is the fleet maintenance that will be paid after we finish building the ships. You pay fleet maintenance each turn, so 4,000 credits per turn. I'll put it all on ship construction so that we can build these things a little faster, so we'll have everything done in 2 turns. Okay?
The steel slingers are ready to build.
So let's go to research now, and we're gonna research. I'm gonna do trading right now because 21 turns of. Let's see, what can we do to knock that down a bit? 7 turns. Okay, that's a bit better.
All facilities in order and ready to study this problem.
That's the one annoying thing about the Liir is all the dialogue that happens when you do stuff takes forever to get through. But so the reason I'm doing trade now is because that can open up a huge amount of credits to you, like mid game when you start colonizing blocks of sectors of systems or the map. So in order to enact trade in a any portion of the map, you have to have that entire sector either owned by you or by you and an ally, and then you can start using trade ships to go between planets. Like I said, that can bring up a ton of resources, lots and lots of Zarn. That's for my game now. Tons of credits, and that's really the secondary way to make to increase your economies through trade. So we're gonna go ahead and end the turn, and we'll get some ships built here.
System updates.
Alright, so in order to, this is the fleet panel. If you click on manage fleet, once you have certain technologies, you'll be able to create squads and basically build your fleet in this layout. We don't have that technology yet, so I can't do that. You can also rename the fleet. You also have move, which allows you to send your selected fleet to a new location, and also special. So if they have any special actions they can undertake, then they can you can do those, like repair, scuttle, flag is guarded. I'm not sure what this does. If you have like a colonizer or some other specialized ship in here, you'll have other options as well. So what we're going to do now is we're going to pull out these extended range ships into their own fleets, because if you don't, they'll be slowed down by the lower movement ships. Now I'm just going to go ahead and send them out to systems here. So the recommended exploration pattern for not only the Morgi but the Liir and I think also the Tarka is a starburst pattern where you're sending your ships out and bring them back in different orders. Like, so you send them out to some planets, bring them back to refuel, send them out again, do the same thing. It's different for the other races because they have different movement methods. So we'll head to those planets.
System updates.
So let's see, we got some armor now.
System updates. System updates.
So yeah, once Liir ships get near a planet, they start slowing down because of I guess their drives are affected by gravity wells or something is what the lore is. That also works for when you're leaving a system. It takes an extra 2 turns to leave or enter a system, which is why these take 7 turns. It only would really should take 3 turns if they didn't have that limitation.
System
Alright, we're gonna reach 2 planets here, it looks like. Or 1, I guess. So this one is, so we have a first planet here. It's actually a pretty good planet. Size is 3, but that's okay. The climate hazard is not very high, so it's not going to be a very high planet to colonize. So I'm going to create some colony ships, and I think we'll send 2 down there. The more ships that you send, the more resources you have to start out with. You can also send colony ships after you start colonizing to ferry back and forth between systems to take more resources. Or at least that's what it says in the wiki. I'm not sure if that actually works that way, so I'm going to actually try that out. There's actually in 2, they actually explicitly allow colony ships to do that. Whereas in 1, I guess it was something you had to figure out. I'm going to go ahead and move it back to Tumen now. What's this one? Lirio? Or something, Lirio. So in Mirio, there's an unknown menace.
System updates. The path twisted and turned, but finally we have arrived.
Alien derelict. So we finished that research on that. Commerce rating. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with the industrial now. Waldo units will allow you to increase your industrial output, and also well as giving you access to the Hammerhead module. It decreases ship cost as well. So lowering construction costs by 10% and increasing 15% the industrial output of all planets. So it's a pretty good starting tech to research for that. Alright, what do we got? We got a size 6 planet that's also going to be nice for colonization. And we got a slightly less nice. So I'm going to mark these to colonize. And then we'll just leave the notes there until after we fully establish them. Now I'm going to leave this one here right now. This one we're going to bring back.
We hear your voice coming to New Bearing.
So we won't have enough to get there because our ship's range is not enough. So what we'll have to do is we'll have to create some tankers. So we've got to build tankers. Let's also build some more colonizers.
Yes, Elder.
Now,
The vessels will be completed.
you could potentially colonize this one right now if you wanted to. You'd have to send at least 5, maybe 7 colonizers to do it though, because that would give you enough resources to effectively colonize it without killing your economy.